Political operatives are trying every trick in the book to prevent African Americans from voting.
They are? Blacks are being stopped from voting? Bernie Sanders says African American youths are especially victimized and America should spend another $1 trillion to get them jobs and education. Look, if there's any group that has a right to claim victimhood in America, it's blacks, with years of slavery, then government-enforced segregation. But Kira Davis of the National Sentinel says blacks don't need special help from government. But they don't? You don't?
Shockingly, we can actually take care of ourselves. Black culture is probably one of the strongest cultures in America, and there's a good case to be made that we're one of the purest forms of real American culture. Black culture has become pop culture these days.
You got everything.
Everything. We have everything.
All the music, the
Two
movies.
words, people. Kanye West. Need I say more? No, listen, John, here's my point. My point is that black people in this country have literally built America on our backs. We came from nothing. We are the people who had nothing, demanded the right to have what was constitutionally guaranteed, got that, marched, got the right to vote, got the right to work where we want, eat where we want, marry who we want. We did that ourselves. Somewhere along the way, after the 60s, we became a people who was like, well, we want to stop doing things for ourselves. Other people need to do things for us. And you look, and all of the numbers for the black communities have dropped. Education rates, marriage rates, kids born a single home.
They were going up before the welfare state began.
Absolutely. We don't need government. Government has taken more from us than it could have ever given to us. And that's really how I used to be a raging socialist, believe it or not. I'm sorry. But that's how I went. I saw the policies.
What, you just saw the problems and
I did.
woke up?
I got the opportunity to serve my community, and I ran an after-school program in the inner city. And I got the opportunity to see how all the policies I supported all my life, how they actually worked when they were applied. And I found out they didn't work. We've become victims to the government when the government was supposed to be helping us be self-sufficient.
Let's look at this one graph that gives an example of what you're talking about. How many women have babies out of wedlock when they're young? Since the welfare state began, fewer than 8% of unmarried before the welfare state began, fewer than 8% had babies. Then welfare began. Lyndon Johnson declared war on poverty. He's going to fix it. 10 years later, the number of single teen moms shot up to 25%. And at that point, the label on the graph changes because government changed its category to black from non-white. The teen birth rate has declined since then, fortunately, but it's still twice as high as it was before the welfare state.
I know this isn't a politically correct thing to say, but the truth is that the biggest problem in the black community right now that has spread to every other community in this country is that we don't have our fathers anymore.
It's growing in the white community,
too. It is growing in the white community, and that is directly related to that statistic, John, that you just talked about, how when kids were being born more into two-parent homes, not to teenage mothers, their rates of success skyrocketed. There is no doubt in my mind that the connection to the government coming in and saying, look, ladies, you can get your money. Yeah, here's your card. You can get your money, but you can't have your dude living in the house. You can't have your guy in the house, can't have a man in the house, or we're not going to give you our money. Boom, government comes in, is the father, and, I'm sorry, but government is a really crappy dad.
What about Hillary Clinton's point at the beginning of this segment? Political operatives are preventing blacks from voting.
My 80-year-old aunt was born without a birth certificate. She has a driver's license. She votes. She works. She has a bank account. You know why? Because she likes to live in America. She likes to get her check and cash it at the bank. She likes to get her prescription at the doctor. So she figured out a way to get her ID. She's 80. Anybody else who cannot get... In California, illegal immigrants are getting IDs. If you can't figure out to get a way to get an ID in this country, that's your problem, not mine.
Thank you, Kira Davis.